Hey Dan, I have no idea what the video quality is going to be like on this camera without the casing on it, which includes the fisheye lens. It might still have a fisheye lens on it, so we'll find out. You mean just the camera without the actual casing itself. Anyway, it is Friday afternoon, about 3:18, and I am heading to Iowa, also known as Heaven, to play some golf with Adam for my booth day. Sitting in the back there, I think you can see the remnants of cupcakes. So, hold on a second. Okay, just setting my stopwatch so I know how long this video is going. Anyway, I was thinking about gravity and wanted to talk about it for no other reason than I'm a nerd and I'm driving in a car. So when I thought about gravity, I thought about the fact that we always refer to being up in the air and falling. Obviously that's something that we only talk about relative to, I guess, ourselves being on Earth. But if you were to be standing on the moon, for example, or out in outer space, and you're looking at the Earth, and you had good enough vision that you could see a person 1,000 feet, away from the surface of the Earth, you wouldn't refer to that person as being up in the air. You would just refer to them as not being in contact with the Earth. And in fact, they are 1,000 feet away from the surface. Meaningful? No, not yet. So I started thinking about that. I started thinking about, what is it about gravity, obviously, that attracts us? It's that, really magical and mysterious force of that every object, what's the word I'm looking for? Not has to do with, not enforces, not influences. It's that force that every object has on every other object. I still don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but that's all right. And so I was thinking about, why is it when I'll use falling for lack of a better word. Why is it when you're falling, let's say you jump off out of an airplane, or you fall out of a tree, or you jump off of a 10-meter platform into a pool, why does that feel so different than if you're in a car and you're accelerating? Because really all you're doing, there's nothing special about falling. You're just accelerating, right? So that's, it's all acceleration, correct? Right. So why is it that feels so different? Even if you were strapped into a seat and they pushed you off of a 10-meter platform, it would feel different. Other than the fact that perceptively exerts, that's what I'm looking for. It exerts the influence. Anyway, perceptively it feels different because you're freaking out because you're falling towards the Earth strapped into a chair. But, aside from that, why does it feel so different? So if you're in a car and you start accelerating, well, first of all, what's gravity? What's the gravitational acceleration? What is that? 32 feet per second per second? I think that's, if I can remember from Bazzarino's class, that's what it was. Sorry, little lens cleaning there. So 32 feet per second, which means after 2 seconds, you're traveling at 64 feet per second. Now, let's put that in miles per hour because it's easier to understand, I think. So, let's see. There is, let's see. If you're moving 1 mile per hour, no, let's go. If you're moving 5,280 feet per second, that is 3,600 miles an hour, right? Because that's the same thing as saying you're moving 1 mile a second. There's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, so that would be 3,600 miles per hour. So roughly, if you have a speed in feet per second, it's roughly equal to, if you take 2/3 of that number, you get miles per hour, roughly. So if you're traveling at 64 and 2, if you got gravity and after 2 seconds you're falling, and you're now moving 64 feet per second, that's what's 2/3 of that? 20, 40, 60, 21? 21 miles an hour, 21 and a third miles an hour. So you're moving 21 and a third miles an hour, right? And that's after 2 seconds. So, I mean, if you are in a car and you accelerate to 32 miles an hour, or excuse me, 21 miles an hour, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that, that kind of, that push back into the seat. I mean, not a lot, not like, 20 miles an hour, 50, so then it would be, what, 64, 96 feet per second after 3 seconds. And so that's 60, that's 60 miles an hour right there. So if you accelerate to 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds, I mean, that's pretty fast. So you're going to really feel that being pushed back into the seat. So, and I realize that the reason that, what you're really feeling is the fact that your body is being pushed by the car, right? From behind. And every molecule, every organ, every part of your body is having to get pushed and is reacting against that. So as soon as the car starts moving, your back starts moving. Your skin moves first, then your spine. Your organs are going to get obviously mashed before they in turn get pushed. So everything is going to end up getting pushed forward. And that, of course, is why falling hurts so bad. It's not the falling that hurts, it's the stopping suddenly that hurts. So I started thinking about that, and I started thinking, well, the difference between accelerating in any other instance and accelerating by gravity is the fact that one is always pushing, and gravity is the only one that actually pulls you. And not only, because even if you think about it in terms of, let's say somebody grabs your hand and they're pulling you forward, or you're hooked onto a rope and the rope starts gets jerked that way and you get pulled that way. You're not actually getting pulled, you're just getting pushed by the rope, right? The back of that rope is pushing your back, it's the same thing. Or even if somebody grabs your hand, what they're really doing is they're pushing you, pushing your hand in the sense that the net result, of course, is that you're being pulled, but really what you're doing is you're being pushed. And so the difference between that and gravity, of course, is that gravity pulls you, but not only does it pull you, but it pulls every part of you equally. So it pulls every molecule, every organ, every eyeball, every hair fiber. Everything gets pulled at exactly the same rate, which is why it feels so different, why you don't really notice the falling. What you're really going to notice when you're accelerating is the sort of that lightness. It's almost like there's no gravity because you're moving exactly at the same rate as gravity. So essentially you're in right, that's what a free fall. I mean, that's that vomit comet that they do with the airplane, is they'll take you and they'll dive towards the earth at exactly whatever that speed is, that acceleration is, that renders you weightless, which is essentially the same thing as just being pushed out of an airplane, right? So, and so I just was thinking about that and thinking how cool that is, that every molecule, every bit of you is being pulled at exactly the same rate. or the same rate of acceleration. Whereas when you're being pulled by something other than gravity, when you're being pushed by something other than gravity, everything is moving at different rates of speed and gets pushed at different rates of speed, because you have things that are getting compressed and things that are getting, so when you get jerked, what happens is your organs compress, your brain moves, all these things happen. But when you're accelerating with gravity, there's no compression. Everything moves at exactly the same rate. I just think that's awesome. I don't know why. I mean, isn't that just like the awesomest thing you've heard? And it's so damned mysterious. That's the great part about it. Is it's I just think it's awesome, and I can't figure out. Obviously, yeah. So anyway, I don't know. I just think it's befuddling, in its mysteriousness. I mean, gravity is just that. It's magic, and I like it that way. So, yeah. I guess that's why I like to drive without a radio. So, all right. Thanks for listening.